that's still our problem. Because what happened is when Lansana Conte took office in 1984, everybody was happy. People see in him, oh, this is somebody who came to save us. But what happened? As I say, his ethnic was still only 10% of the country. And the Pearl and the Malenke are the majorities. But when it's come to redistribute the wealth of the country, when it's come to make sure that you have infrastructure, you have schools, you have clean water, you have... Conakry is one of the darkest capital in the world. There is no electricity, there is no clean water. So the fact is, the government, it's just about corruption, it's just about bad government. When you are president and you have no clear project for your people, you have no clear project for your country, that doesn't mean anything. He was backed only by the military. Remember, the military in Guinea are overpaid because the only way the president can stay in power is to make sure he pleases the military in order for him just to be there, not to be
chapter, I want to get a quick reaction from Ayo Johnson. Ayo Johnson, now, really, who's to blame here? If the country and the people, whoever is on top, are incapable of self-governance, then who's to blame? I mean, are we still to put the blame on the colonial masters, or are we going to come of age and take a reality check and see who's been messing around with public wealth and start from ourselves, self-criticize, let's say?
Well, yes, Guinea has been dogged by dictators, Sékou Touré, Lansana Conte clearly, and they've not aspired in the interest of the people. All that wealth in that country has not actually been beneficial. I mean, we have life expectancy right down to only 54. Things that you and I aspire to daily, healthcare, education, access to water, access to electricity, housing, these are only for the few and the privileged. So clearly, it hasn't worked. Where I think the problem lies is the lack of vision by the African leaders, and Kante was no exception to that, for wanting to improve the values for their people. And of course, what we see on the ground at the moment is a symptom of the frustration clearly by the public and also by the officers who've actually taken over. And of course, what we see as well, the fact that people are coming out supporting these officers for the coup, I think it's one, supporting them from the perspective that no, we do not have the tyranny, we do not have those that we thought for once who were not acting in our best interest, but also mindful of the fact that the coup d'etats and the military may not necessarily do a good job. So I think it's a very tight situation at the moment. What we need is the international community, especially John Ping, who's on the ground at the moment, to make it absolutely clear that coup d'etats are that of history. We should not be accepting them today. I'm sure the military junctors are looking at probably someone like Jerry Rawlings, who clearly in Ghana went repeatedly causing coup d'etats, and of course when you look at Ghana now, you may say, well, maybe it was in the interest of Ghana for him to have carried those actions out, seeing how Ghana is actually progressing. But coup d'etats should be a thing of the past and should not be accepted.
Now, Bassane Viku, so far as the succession to President Conte is concerned, go ahead. Make your point, and then I'll put another question to you.
I mean, when it comes to the blaming game, it's obvious that we have to blame here the political leaders. I'm not in power. I'm a citizen. I just want to go to school. I just want to access health care. And during the election, I gave my vote to somebody who is supposed to take care of the country, to have a vision to the country. But that person, unfortunately, failed to do that. So if people still poor, living under $1 a day in Conakry, they didn't have any clean water, any electricity, who to blame? It's just the government. It's Sékou Touré first, it's Lansana Conte, and its people surround them. And now,
Bassane Viku, I think the blame game is not going to take us anywhere, and if there's anything to be blamed, that would be ourselves if we duly stocktake of the past and stop basking in the halo of past glories and have this reality check, which is the existence of this corruptive culture. But then, again, coming up to the day and the recent situation, so far as the succession issue is concerned, in 2010, apparently there will be, as promised by the junta, this presidential elections, and the president, let's say the junta leader, the rebel leader, has said he's not planning to run for president. But so far as the next president, officially elected president in Guinea is concerned, to what extent will there be an ethnic factor to it?
Remember that
New York, please.
Parliament,
Basan Biku first.
right there.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. Remember that the Parliament right there have no legitimacy because their power was over, and they stayed there because the president wanted them to be there. And the country was supposed to have an election this December, but couldn't do it. And now they scheduled another election for May. And now that the coup happened, the new leader saying, okay, I would like to organize fair and free election in 2010. But this is my question. Let us make sure that history did not repeat itself. In 1984, we have the same situation. In 2008, we have the same situation. I have no guarantee that a Camara Dadis, who is just captain, who cannot even read what was written clearly in his paper. I remember I listened to his statement. He wasn't able just to the speech was, you hear that this person is, he's just a captain. But does that mean he have any management, any skills to run the country? No, we have no proof. So, but unfortunately, people are so desperate that they have just to back him. Now, the African Union
isn't there this 23 or 32 member council,
to make sure that
the
everything works properly.
CNND involved? I mean, they are surely made up of some more competent figures, aren't there? The council,
yeah, but the CND, the National Council for Development of Democracy, was created right after the death of the president. They didn't even plan it. You can just tell. They just took the media and then make their statement. And at the beginning, they didn't know exactly how things are going. And finally, the government have to submit itself and saying, we are at your complete disposal. We want to work with you, Mr. President. I'm quoting just the Prime Minister. Now, the military now, the only way that country can just go on the right track is just to organize, not in 2 years, but in 1 year, a fair and transparent election and give the power to the civilian, because I don't trust the military. They have no skills, they have no capacity. Their rule is just to stay in their base and to protect the country, not to run the country.
Okay, quickly going to London, Ayo Johnson. Is the country prepared for snap elections?
No, I don't think so. It's too early to say. Clearly, these juntas are saying elections in 2 years' time. Other people in the rest of the world, especially that of France and America, are asking for elections to take place straight away or for the juntas to relinquish power. I think what the pivotal issue is not the elections themselves. The issue is the conditionality that has led to this coup d'etat is prevalent in Guinea, prevalent in Liberia, prevalent in Sierra Leone, and that of Ivory Coast. And I think the coup today that we've seen sends a terrible message. It sends a message, one, for those who are in these other countries who may be feeling disillusioned, to take up arms and act in this fashion, ignoring the ballot box. And I think this is the precedent which I'm very concerned about.
Is there a regional connection there? I mean, obviously the fear is prevalent of the fallout, if not spillover, of this instability in the regional countries. But then I assume, if I'm not, correct me if I'm wrong, the Senegalese president has been known to back the opposition parties in Guinea. Now, what does that tell you about the regional connection, Ayo Johnson?
Yeah, yes, the regional connection is very
Ayo Johnson,
obvious.
please. I'm not finished with Ayo Johnson. Very quickly, we're running out of time. Ayo Johnson?
Yeah, the regional connection is there, and for all intents and purposes, there's nothing we can do about it. What we have, the situation on the ground, the situation we have to look at Guinea, we have to think about the people of Guinea, and for all intents and purposes, I can see the international community sending a very clear message and putting punitive action in terms of sanctions against that country, and I can see the regime being targeted specifically on their bank account, their ability to travel, and regionally they may be their position will be questionable.